Hi there, Peter here, and it's very early in the morning. It's actually not that early, it's just coming up to 7 o'clock, but the sun's not long risen and it's a fine moist morning, and I shall speak to you in a bit. Follow me. It is wonderfully damp and there's a deep mushroomy smell. Whether I find any fungi today or not, I have no idea. Oh joy, the first fly agaric of the season. Wow. Beauty. Being consumed by a slug. One reason why you shouldn't really eat slugs. They'll be full of toxins. Not deadly poisonous, but will trip you out and you will see the fairies. Then you come back to earth. Nice morning, and as I said just now, it's a very fine day. It's a little bit late, it's about 20 minutes later. It's supposed to be raining this morning, or was according to the weather forecast yesterday, but the sky is a powdery blue. It's nice. It's very autumnal this morning. And I've seen a few fungi about. As you saw earlier, there's a nice fly agaric. I will say they are poisonous, but they're not deadly poisonous. They were used by Sami shaman and other mystics around the northern hemisphere, particularly in the UK with the druids, as what is known as teacher plants. They would ingest either the urine of the reindeer or who have eaten fly agaric, or they would eat the fly agaric themselves and they would trip out, very much in a similar vein to magic mushrooms. Also, there was a certain warrior class in Viking times that will consume fly agaric, or has been believed to consume the fly agaric, and that were the berserkers. And the reason why they think they consumed it is because they would foam at the mouth. One of the side effects of taking fly agaric is you tend to foam a bit at the mouth. They were the shock troops of Viking times, and in a future video I might tell a tale of a Native American friend of mine and his story about the Cayuga and a warrior that they had. Anyway, on with today's things. Two things I'm going to field test today. One is the Trangia triangle, and the other one is the honey stove extension called the hive. It's basically an 8-sided stove, a lot larger, and it looks quite good. I've set them up at home. They look okay. I've had to make one or two mods to take my equipment. The Trangia triangle, you cannot rest the Crusader cup on it, so I made a small wire triangle to put on top of the Trangia triangle, and with the hive I've cut a small cooling wire that I had sitting in the garage to fit the top of that, but also I bought a cooking rack. And some good news a little while down the line. So in the next sequence you will see me field testing the various items. Well, there we go folks, the two items set up. As you can see, the honey stove's quite a bit bigger, and that's the little modification I made for it. It just sits on the top there like so you can stand your pots and pans on the top, and that's also the little grill I've got to put over the top. It sits over like that, so it's more of a barbecue type grill. Trangia triangle with the little triangular piece of wire I made for the Crusader cup. Well, I like to point out that when I do a field test, I mean I do exactly that, a field test. All this testing of boiling times at home, in a garage or in the backyard, isn't really pushing the item along a bit. The environment's too sterile, and you get in many cases false results. A field test should be that. It should be out in the fields, in the woods, wherever you are. It should be in a camping or working type situation. Having said that, I am going to do it. I don't time boil times. When it's bubbling away, that's it. As far as I'm concerned, it's ready. Because you've got things like altitude to worry about, the time of year. Like it's autumn now, it's cooler. It's going to take a little bit longer to boil than it would do, say, back in the spring when it was very, very hot. So I'm going to fire these up, boys and girls, and get these puppies working. There we go, rolling boil and fire going. Rolling boil, I would say, in less than 6 minutes. So I know there are critics about the Trangia triangle, but I find it seems to be working okay. And of course, just waiting for the flames to die down on here so I can get breakfast cooking. Go. There we go, folks. Real Agaricus campestris, or field mushrooms. These were picked by my wonderful Avalon yesterday. Ideally you should pick them when they're like that rather than that. That way it can be very difficult to identify the fungi in question, but this way you can identify it. There's a lovely aniseedy smell, which you obviously can't smell, and dark mushroomy coloured gills, dark brown gills. These will be very tasty, only 2, and I'm looking forward to eating them in a minute once I've got the fire going and everything. Agaricus campestris, or the field mushroom, brought to you in Sizzle Vision. And they're almost done. Don't want to overcook these beauties because of the flavour. Right, there's my Trangia burner all finished for the day. Right, before I pack it away, my verdict on the Trangia burner is 10 out of 10. I can't fault it, it worked very well. Maybe on a windy day I might need a windshield, but this worked perfectly. Great bit of kit and well worth the investment. Should last me a good few years. My only criticism is, why didn't Trangia come out with this years ago? Really good bit of kit, as I said. The only modification is a piece of wire work on the top to hold the Crusader cup. As I pan over, and while it's burning out now. Right, now this is the honey stove extension called the Hive. It's got 8 sides. I use it in conjunction with a small metal grill, and also if you look upon the top of the stove you can see the little grill made for it earlier. I can only say that I will give this a 9 out of 10, and only 9 because I think it could have done with a top, such as this little grill here, and it would have made it a perfect piece of kit. But other than that, it is a really good bit of kit. I say both pieces work very well, and I like the little pot stand thing I bought. It actually can double up as a little table as well. The sun is rising. I've had my breakfast and it is now getting on a bit. It's about 9:15. Got another tea brewing over there, and I'll be back to do some stuff to camera in a minute. And some good news, wonderful news for me actually, wonderful news. And just as a note, the Trangia packs into that tiny little bag. There's my fingers for comparison. I hope you enjoyed that little video there of my 2 new cooking setups. As I said, the triangle made by Trangia is a good piece of kit. Some people have poo-pooed it, other people have bigged it up. I think I'll big it up because I think it works very well. If you work within the parameters of what you're doing, don't try and push the kit too far. Same with the honey stove hive. Really good piece. In fact, I quite like it because you've got more room to put your small bits of wood in. Brewed up both systems brewed up the water very efficiently, very quick. I never use a litre of water because I don't often boil a litre out in the woods. About half a litre at a time, you know, enough for my brew. Then while that's brewing up, I've got another half litre on, getting ready for something else if I need it. Normally I've got the pan on to cook. Right, in a few weeks time I'm going to start my kit videos, bits of kit that I've got. And as I've said in past videos, the kit, I don't recommend kit that I would not personally use myself. Say today I'm wearing a nausea top, an army top. Pity we didn't have these when I was in the army, because these are quite toasty and cosy warm. It's a little bit long in the sleeves, but it's very good. It's great for this time of year. We are now entering the season of mists and mellow fruitfulness. Though there's been a lot of fruit kicking around, there's not been much mist. I say my hat is the merino wool and possum fur one sold by Woodlaw, and it's very warm. I love it. It's don't machine wash it. I do know I have a friend that did machine wash it, and it washed all the possum fur out. But very warm, and of course, being as it's wool, if it gets a bit sweaty, it won't pong. I say, right, some great news. A few weeks back I had an email from Woodlaw saying that Ray would be leading the journeyman course, which is currently running near Dunkeld in Scotland. I'm not doing the first week. They're week courses and I only do 2 weeks a year. And I thought, oh, I was gutted. I was gutted because the guy was just doing the first week. So I sent him an email asking if Ray was leading the second week, and which he is. So next week I will be up in Bonnie, Scotland, in a place near Dunkeld, doing the hardcore bushcraft piece with Ray Mears, no less, and I'm quite looking forward to it. It's great. I'm quite excited. I've got a few other things coming off. Lake District for a week, or for a long weekend, making some mittens and mucklucks and felt boot liners, and then with my lady we are off down to Dorset, doing a one-day fungi foraging course, something I've wanted to do for a long time. Fungi are wonderful bits, are wonderful things. Food value, you know, they don't hold much in the way of vitamins. Some are quite high in protein, but they add interest to the meal. And you know, you can get all your stuff you need with very plain cooking. But of course, when you're out in the woods, you've got to have some interest to the meal. You've got to have something there to lift it a little, because after all, particularly in the middle of winter, or as it is now, it's getting quite cool. You need something to sort of warm you up, to have something to look forward to. I intend to do a lot more stuff during the winter this time. Not so much foraging, because everything obviously dies back. Right.